Hello, come on in. Just getting everything set. I was going to be on here about a half hour ago, but unfortunately I broke a glass right before I was headed into my office, so I had to clean that up first. So I didn't have any massive injuries because nobody needs that. I just have to find one more thing and then I'll get started. I'm almost there. I had it and I completely lost it. I thought I saved it. Well, I'll find it in a second. I don't want to sit here. Hi, my 2 cents. How you doing? How you doing? So if everybody would come in, if you want to hit that, excuse me, not hit that, but claw that thumbs up button for me, I would greatly appreciate that. And yeah, so I am going to, here we go. This will work. I'm going to minimize that down and I'm going to get a new window so I can search for this because I know I saved it somewhere. But so how you guys doing today? It's been quite a lot of stuff happening. I was out running around all day and one of the things I wanted to talk about is what happened at the airport today between Jlr and Nerdy Addict. But one of the things that I do want to say first before I go any further is, you guys, you come on here. I'm not really into like the drama of this whole situation. I've really been about the facts, the police reports, paperwork, court documents, things like that. Because of that, it made me look into Jlr's background more, and I should have done it sooner. I've said that a million times. But I didn't, and that was my mistake. And so now I did my research. This whole case of, hey, Truth Warrior, how you doing? Good to see you. I'm sending good internet juju your way, girl. But I'm doing good. I got a little bit of a headache, and like I said, I broke a glass right before I came on here, so that kind of, I had to make sure I did, the major cleanup. I'm gonna take some duct tape after I'm done here and make sure I go over the floor just so there's not any little chippies or anything, because nobody wants to find that. But yes, I hope so too. I want you to stay on all night. Well, not all night with me, because I'm not going to be super late tonight because I need to cut my hair. I cammed up the other day and my ends are horrible. Okay. There's nothing like a live stream camera to show you that you need a haircut, right? Hey, Austin, how you doing, hun? So first, I do want to address something is, and it's nobody in here. It's not anybody that normally that comes in and talks and stuff like that. But I was on a panel the other night and someone that had been blocked in here came in and was scolding me, telling me, "What are you doing to JLR? I can't believe you're doing this to JLR." First, I haven't done anything to him. He has done all of this to himself. And whether you believe he's guilty or not, it's all going to come out. Oh, do I? What's my typo? I'll check it in a second. I'm going to say this part and then I'll check it. I haven't done anything to him. I'm not spreading rumors. I'm not going and digging dirt. I'm not showing all these horrific videos that are all over the internet posted by him. Okay? I wasn't the one that in interviews all over social media admitted that I like to cause problems for people, that I sued how many thousands of people just to get my kicks. I didn't do that, and I didn't lie about that. He has said that himself. So I haven't done anything to him. And if you are going to take the time to go follow me into someone else's live just to tell me and try to blame me for any of this, then I don't want you here anyway, flat out. Because even take away this whole recent situation, his behavior before was absolutely disgusting. The things that he did to people, and that is going to go into kind of part of my first topic tonight too, is he wasn't a good person. He lied and he cheated and he scammed people. I gave him a second chance because I thought he committed a white collar crime like writing a bad check or, which is still wrong, or maybe stealing somebody's credit card or something like that. And that's what I was told, because I don't sit around with my friends and gossip about, everybody's stuff. And I don't dig on people unless they're part of a case that we're following. And that's it. So even if you don't believe what's going on right now, if you don't believe Magnolia, if you don't believe Plunder and all of the documents and the calls that she's gotten through FOIA, fine. There's nothing that's going to convince you if you don't believe all that. And I'm not going to try. That's not my job to try to convince you. That's one of the biggest things on my channel that I like about my channel is that everyone's opinion is welcome here, even if it's completely opposite of mine. We talk about crime stories. We all throw out our ideas. We don't scream at each other. We don't yell at each other. We don't con each other. We don't try to get money off of each other. We just have a nice night. And that's what I want. And I am going to talk about him because I am starting to realize how many cases he has been a part of. And I heard him say with his own words, his own voice, his face, that he used to like to create channels on social media, channels, accounts, whatever, that looked like mainstream media and put out false information, false facts, and put them out everywhere. Oh, I don't see Sue. I'm going to have to get my other chat open too. Hi, Sue. I can't see you right now, and so, head to you too, Molly. And so, no matter what, he still has done all of these things. He's had his fingers in all of these cases. And who knows what he's put out there? Who knows what in the world he's put out there? I'm looking back and I'm getting angry because I'm seeing him in the Sebastian Rogers case. I'm seeing him in the Quentin Simons case, in the Summer Wells case, in who else was it that I found out the other day? Oh, he's in the Savannah Soto Matthew Guerra case. He was in that too. I am good. I broke a glass on my way to the computer, so that's one of the reasons why I was late. But other than that, I'm good. But no matter what way you look at this guy, he's not someone that we can trust. And now, how do we know when we're seeing somebody come out and say, this is a fact, this is whatever? How do we know that's not him? Like the Wizard of Oz behind a little green curtain pretending to be somebody else. That makes me angry. That's not an advocate. And making mistakes is one thing, but having a certain way of thinking like that, to be that deep, to create accounts to talk to yourself, to get in arguments with yourself, to create viewers and subs and drama, all in the name of getting paid. What I feel like, my opinion of him is that he doesn't care about what side of the case is right or wrong. He cares about which side of the case makes the most money. And that's the side that he's going to be on. Can I trust that? I can't trust that. And now, this woman is day 61, still missing, right? Still have nothing. We don't know what's going on because, once again, there's been so much drama and so much BS put into the middle of all of it. Exactly, my 2 cents. Exactly. Girl, I'm putting that up. Exactly. And I'm sorry, you can't be an advocate while you're doing all this stuff the minute that the camera turns off, you know? And oh, that is absolutely for sure, Sue. That is absolutely right. I think it's worse than any, and don't make fun of me for my YouTube talk, by the way, but I think it's worse than any rug. One of the worst things is money. It drives everything. And we're looking into his life and we're seeing some of this stuff, and it's sick. It's sick. And now you've got Jlr going back down to Arizona when we just heard him say, before all this stuff came out, he was talking about going home. He said, I have to go home at some point because at some point the information runs out. There's nothing else to do, and I can do this stuff from home. What changed? What changed? Why does he need to be out there now? Handing out flyers, that's great. But why didn't that happen 2 months ago? Because at this point, flyers aren't really going to do much good. And exactly, that's it. That is exactly it. Dirty money, it just, well, and see, I even see 857 is now working on, I haven't seen him with him. I've been kind of peeking around. I've seen him doing he still is doing his own thing, but he's also working on a case called with Holly Dasso, I think is her name. And see, I don't understand that either. I just don't understand. And maybe because I am not, nobody's searching. They went and they handed out some flyers. That's okay. But like I said, that could have been done a month ago. And honestly, the local guys could have done that. Nobody needed to drive a couple states over to do that, except to go out there and try to make money. Because when they're not streaming 24 hours a day, then they're not making the money. And it makes sense, I understand, but at what point do you stop staring at cactuses? And I care about this lady. I want to see her found, but get angry with me because I called out some things that he's done is ridiculous. And yeah, the cactus moved. I heard that he was charged. He was charged with public nuisance or something like that by the police. I don't know about any charges being pressed, but I know that when he arrived at the airport, JLR confronted him, and he was asking him questions and about his past, and it got heated, and he called the police. And I don't know, is that finding her? Is that advocating for her? I don't know. I don't feel like it is. Well, and that's just it. There are things they could be doing. And you don't have to be sitting out front. You can make calls from home. You can do all of that from home. There are local guys there that if something happens can be there in a heartbeat, right? And that was what he said he was going to do. If these guys, then I can jump on a plane and I can be out there if something happens. But no, he's out there smoke and mirrors, right? And I'm not going to feel bad because I will not stick up for someone like that. And I would want someone to tell me that the person that I am trusting right now for my news, to give money because I think they care, all of that, is this person. Hi, Melly, how you doing? Oh yeah, I guess I just saw it like a little bit before, a little while. I just saw it like maybe a couple hours ago when I was reading, and now I see on X there's another person that is on JLR's side that now is heading out. She said she's going out to Tucson now to stick up for JLR. So what is this going to become now? Like, what is this going to become? This is my thing. I get it. I get people wanting to call him out. I get people wanting to give him a taste of, I don't want to say her name. She's not like a big page or anything. She's just somebody that like has been showing up on my X timeline. But hi Nanny, hi Kim, hi Palm Queen. I get wanting to give him a taste of his own medicine. But I don't feel like Tucson is the place to do it. Because exactly. It's becoming drama, and exactly what MSM was giving YouTubers a bad name about, but it wasn't true back then. They shouldn't let it be true now. Well, and that's just it. And I just feel like exactly, it's her home. I feel like that needs to kind of take a break. You know what? What's his name? White Boy Radio did. They went out and they were at the entrance to his neighborhood. From what I read, it's the only way in or out. They had their signs. They were not intrusive to him. They did not go to his property. None of that. And they had talked to law enforcement beforehand to tell them, we're going to be doing this. It's peaceful. Blah, blah, blah. You know, I understand that. I'm not the type of chick that would do that. I am totally an armchair reviewer, whatever you want to call me. I don't know what I am. But I don't know. I'm worried about what this is going to become now. So is everybody going to go out there and just start a big brawl out in the middle of the street? Is that what's going to happen? Because why? Because JLR's ex-girlfriend reported him for DV? Because that's really what this boils down to. I've set up protests before, except it was at the sheriff's department for the Micah Miller case. Yeah. Well, that's what I keep thinking. Like, what about the sheriff's department? Yeah. What about, I don't know. I mean, there's just other ways to do this. And I don't think bringing all the drama and all the stuff out in front of Nancy Guthrie's house is advocating. I don't. And it's going to turn into, it already has turned into a circus. And that is how the real person gets forgotten about. And this is the thing. I want to do this real quick because I saw her in here. I want to find Melly's link because she has written, she's read out his book. And if you don't believe me what kind of person this man is, then please, I beg you to go over to Melly to sub up and to listen to her read this book that he himself wrote. It is just there she is. Because it really is like some of it, and I will admit, some of it makes me laugh. Some of it's kind of like, oh my God. It's like watching a movie. But then I kind of snap out and remember, oh my gosh, this is someone that I trusted. This is someone that I had no idea. And no, nobody owes me anything on social media, And I don't trust the sheriff either. And that's something else that we found out about that case is that the lead investigator was like a 5-year rookie. Like, what are you doing? He lost all his top guys. There's a reason for that, and it's sad that people on YouTube caught mistakes day one of this investigation. And, the sheriff wants to talk about, people on social media, all of us talking about it and don't be mean, don't do this, don't bring in the drama. He's the one that created the drama by blipping little pieces here and there, letting little stuff out, bringing it back, letting it out, bringing it back. I mean, what do you expect? There's just, and okay, I'm done. I'm not going to yell and throw a fit anymore, but that made me mad. There's nothing about this guy that has anything to do with me or is my fault. It's none of our faults. We believed him. And the people that still believe after knowing all of that and reading all of that, good luck to you. That's all I can say. I mean, there's nothing that anyone can do or say anymore to convince you. And I don't need to convince you. You're going to see for yourself. Just be careful and make sure you research who you give your money to and who you give your time to and your beliefs. And your address when you order merch from them. That's another one. Be careful. So on that note, I just really hope that this doesn't become some big, like, this side versus that side brawl and, oh, plunder. I'm telling you, the more that comes out, the more I am just like, what? I mean, I really think this is, this is serious. And just a second. Sorry about that. Yeah, I am just, well, and that's just it. This is a lot. And that's, I think, what people don't understand. If he had stayed at that hotel that night or in the area and they had found him, this all would have been handled right then. Everything that I have read and that a lot of you have read and come in and reported in here, you've said Washington State is very strict on DV laws and punishments. And oh, excuse me. Sorry, my allergy stuff is wearing off. But this is this. You know what? He may get off scot-free. That is a very big possibility. But the fact that this hasn't happened right this second doesn't mean that it's not going to happen. And it sounded like, oh no, Canvas. The girl, that happens to me a lot. And that happens to me. That's why I never sleep. Okay. Truth Warrior got me in a rabbit hole too. When I go to bed tonight, I'm going to be reading all about this stuff, which, by the way, Truth Warrior we're going to be on tomorrow night. She's going to come on panel because she found out some really interesting stuff about someone that was talked about before. Right? That's what I say too. I get like 2 hours of sleep and honestly, I'm at the point in my life where if I sleep more than like 6 hours, I can't move. Like my back hurts, my legs hurt, all that stuff. And so that's my life. And just a second. There are some pictures out that were released today that I'm trying to make sure are real, are before I show them or talk about them. Now is when some of the FOIA is coming back, but we might not get everything. A lot of times they won't give you everything until after someone's charged or after it goes to court and they are, thrown guilty, not guilty, whatever. It just depends on how that state, how that county runs their public records. So yeah, and that was what Truth Warrior was saying, was that the two different police departments between oh my gosh, Pasco County and that Chelan County, they do things very, very differently. And so what the one office told her to call and request, the other department said, we don't do it that way. So she's got to figure out how they do it. And they're trying to communicate back and forth with policies and things like that aren't the same. So it might take a bit. And in some of the recordings of Jamie, she said they are The DA is going forth with the case. Now, did she misunderstand? Did she not? I don't know. But we're going to find out. Exactly. Everything's just not public yet. It doesn't mean it's not happening. And I even believe that with the Nancy Guthrie case. That even though they say they don't have anything, there are still things that are in the works. That at some point, maybe they don't mean much right now, but maybe in a month or two, it will. You know, we've got everybody under the sun looking for her, looking for that guy in that photo. There's got to be something. Somebody knows something. And it's just going to be a matter of time of somebody having one too many glasses of wine and letting someone else know something. Or somebody goes to jail and is telling their cellmate something. Literally, that happened. That was one of the things that last year I followed a case out of Michigan. It was a retrial case. It was a case of Linda Sturmer. And she was the one that set the house and her husband on fire and ran him over. And she was found guilty, sentenced to life, appealed, got a new trial, was found guilty and sentenced to life. And one of the things that got her was her cellmate. They had her cellmate come and testify, and she testified that she said she did it. And and this was someone who had nothing to gain from it. She wasn't going to do anything. She wasn't going to get any extra time off. She wasn't going to, nothing. Well, that's what I wonder. That might be what's happening, Kim. And that might be why when she does call and you're hearing the phone call, she seems to know what she's talking about when she's knowing what to ask for, and at this point, I mean, like I said, you're all adults. You're all can have your own opinions. But to be able to get a 3-year restraining order on someone, that's hard to do. And I feel like there has to be some merit to this. And there has to be pictures, and there has to be, but they're just not public. And, I know that people want to know, but can you imagine having pictures of your busted up face all over the internet? So if they do come out, I want to be really careful on how I go about doing anything with them, because this is a real person. And a lot of us have gone through this or known somebody that's gone through it, but luckily it wasn't plastered all over for everybody to see. And I don't know. I feel like if this was just her wanting to take him down, there's a lot of other ways that she could have done that and not had to involve herself like this. She's smart, yeah. And that's what I'm thinking. I do too. Because nobody deserves that. And I really did try to dig into her background and try and find. I haven't found anything else where she has. I keep seeing people saying, well, she's done this before. She's claimed this against men. She hasn't. The one time that she was caught in that, it was a sting. She was working for Veritas. She was literally trying to prove that paper was posting false stories about that senator. She was trying to clear his name, trying to say that if they post this story, then she's going to hop out of the bot going, ha ha, not a true story. We just caught you posting fake stories to sell your narrative. That was what that was for. And there's been nothing since. Nothing. There's no ex-boyfriends popping out. There's one creator that is not somebody that I trust for breaking news or anything, but he said a while ago that she had told him that she got choked. And I don't know why she told him. Sometimes people just, maybe she was looking for help then. Maybe she just needed to tell somebody. I don't know why, but for whatever reason, she did. And we know that at one time they were all friends, because they all were buddies together at the beginning of the Sebastian Rogers case. So a lot of this is going to be like the other cases. And that's why I'm trying to kind of revolve some cases, because there are going to be lulls, and I don't want to just stare at cactuses. My ADHD I just can't do it, and that is, it does take time. And if it's going to work right, they've really got to make sure that they dot their I's and cross their T's. And in one of those calls, she said that the prosecutor said to her, they most definitely do take in past records, past all of that into consideration when charging and sentencing somebody in DV cases. So it could be that. I mean, my gosh, there's like a kabillion of us going through all this stuff and bringing it to light and looking at it and reading it and finding these videos. I mean, they don't have the DA, the prosecutor's office doesn't have the manpower that we do to find all this stuff. So they've got to go through all that stuff. And maybe just like us, they had to take a break from some of it. Some of it's a little bit traumatizing. The stuff that he did to his wife, the stories we've heard from ex-girlfriends, which, believe it if you want or not, but it does follow the narrative of what other people are saying. And I don't know, it's going to be interesting, and I really hope that all this I also find it funny, though, if anybody has been following Molly Golightly, she said, I think, was it yesterday or the day before? She said he doesn't like to confront men. He'll only confront women. So don't think it wasn't lost on me that he specifically went to the airport today to confront Nerdy Addict. I'm just saying. Did anybody catch that watches Molly? That she said that? Yeah. But I think he did it to prove a point. I believe he did it to prove a point to her. And I know I've seen people say, oh, he's not thinking about her. Oh, I think he's thinking about her a lot more than people realize. Because they were on a lot of cases together. Were they best friends? No. But he knows she knows him. And he knows that people listen to her. Even people that don't like her listen to her, right? They listen. And he, today, I think he does too, yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't think he did at the time. I think it was just him. Maybe out in the car. And how dumb to start something at an airport. Of all the places to start at, an airport. And but that didn't get lost on me. That she said that, and all of a sudden he's getting in a fight in the airport. I see it happen a lot when people get in these arguments. Somebody will say something, and then all of a sudden the next day, the person they said it against is like, what? Well, you're wrong. See, I'm doing it right now. See, I'm doing it right now. You know? And yeah, I haven't seen. He posted pictures of him getting off the plane, and then he posted a picture or a video that came from in between the cracks of a fence. I don't know. I didn't watch it. I thought, oh, this is what we're doing now. You know, I just thought, oh, come on. Yes, you heard it, Susanna. Yeah. And I just think that's funny. But he hasn't, I don't think he's gone live today. His ego's hurt. But what do you think was going to happen? Do you think he was going to answer him? I mean, he didn't make himself look tough. He didn't made himself look unhinged. Because literally, I don't know Nerdy Addict, but he could have gone there and just put his camera out and did the same thing Jlr was doing just to troll him. And oh, I'm sure he did. But I don't think it was him. I thought it was him and that other guy that were going back and forth at each other. Somebody said it, the criminal network guy. I thought that was the two. Him and Nerdy were the ones that were talking about fisticuffs and stuff. Yeah. And that's it. And that's the same stuff that he tried doing at Karen Reed. At the Karen Reed trial. Oh, he is. And he's trying to prove this. And he did it in an airport because, you know, nothing's going to happen. Why don't you do it out in the parking lot? That's how, you know. When I was in school, the kids that wanted to fight on school grounds were the ones that didn't really want to fight because they wanted the teachers to come save them. If somebody told you to go to meet them at the park after school, you knew you had to be good or you were going to go home and have to put a stake on your eye, right? That's Gen X, okay? I mean, and he does that. And that's the thing. When White Boy and Nerdy were out on the street by his neighborhood, a quarter of a mile away from his house, he lied about calling the cops and making a report and putting a restraining order on them. He lied. Plunder got all the 911 calls coming from his house, and there were none. There is no report. There's nothing. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Because he was acting like a fool. He was trying to intimidate him. And from from the little, like, I saw still pictures. That's all I saw was him up in that nerdy guy's face. I'm not sure. It might be on X if it's anywhere. I can check in a few minutes. Since I can't find my video now, I'm just mad. But mad at myself. But see, since everybody's blaming, I just blame Jlr for that I can't find my video on review tonight. It's all his fault. But it's just a stupid peeing contest. That's all it is with him. And so now he's going to go out there and he's mad. He's going to prove Marissa wrong. Because, I mean, look at in her chat, she's getting all the fake accounts. They're all the Arizona guys, all that stuff. I mean, what's that about? Like, nobody else is getting that. And like I said, these are all people that used to be friends, acquaintances. co-workers, I don't know what you call them, but and you start to see. See, I didn't see a video. I just saw some still pictures, and the picture that I saw was the nerdy guy just standing there, and like Jlr looked like he was leaning into him with his phone. Like I said, like he did in that Karen Reed video. A video that he himself put out, by the way. So this is all stuff he's putting out. It has nothing to do with anything, really. I mean, oops. But it is going to be interesting, though, to see. I really hope that they can keep this, that somehow, maybe, some of us can. I mean, we're still going to talk about it. We have to talk about it because now it's part of this. It is part of this no matter what. But we just can't make it the spotlight because he doesn't deserve that. He doesn't deserve that. He's not good enough to be top story, right? But on that note, something else that I did notice today that just popped up right before I came on, and I noticed it. Did anybody see that Letitia Stout, her conviction was overturned and she gets a trial now? I believe he was in on that case too. Let me find that. I about died when I saw that. I'm like, are you kidding me? So now she gets a new trial. So that's going to be really interesting. We get to live through that horrific scene all over again with her. I don't know how she got a new trial, but and Christopher Preciado, he's appealed his conviction. So we're going to see how that goes. But first, I wanted to go over, this is from 2 days ago, but it's Brian Enton, and something that is still bugging me and bugging a lot of us is that there was no sign of struggle in the house. And hey HCS, how you doing? And so where does this blood come from? That's the biggest thing. But so how did that blood get there? Was she even alive when she left that house? Was she on the verge of dying? They showed that blood pattern that came from the door all the way down the walk to the driveway that looked like there was a car there. So did somebody carry her out? Are we still on the multiple people? Or are we thinking it is just one? The theory that we're going to talk about tomorrow night goes back to one person, and it's kind of interesting. And I promise to put everything up on the screen today instead of
I've been able to get to the back side of the house, and I'm going to take you really up close in a second. Some interesting things that you can't see from the drone that you can only really see from back here. I also wanted to let you know about.
And I thought this was really cool because he went around. He's now behind, if you can see, he's behind Nancy's pool area. And this was one of the areas that they had been searching. I believe that's where like the septic entrances and everything back there.
About some new information that I've confirmed with the source close to the investigation, that there were no signs of an assault inside Nancy's house. No signs of an assault. The house was mostly clean, and the way it was described to me is that some rooms were actually immaculate.
And see, right there, like you said, everything was clean, everything was immaculate. That's what I'm kind of wondering too. Was it somebody she knew, or was it someone who, like, did they have their mask on the whole time when they had her? Did they take it off to make her feel more comfortable? And maybe they had a friendly face, and so she thought she could kind of talk to them and save herself. And just if she went willingly, because I mean, the more that we heard from Savannah when she talks about that someday she couldn't even walk down to the mailbox, she sounds a lot frailer than we thought originally.
But the headline is that there were no signs of an assault inside. Remember, obviously there was blood that was seen on the front sort of steps area, front area right in front of her front door. That's where we saw the blood. And there's been a lot of questions about, well, what did it look like inside? And apparently it didn't look like much at all. It looked relatively normal. No signs of an assault, which would explain when Savannah did her interview, why she was saying that when Annie, her sister, and her brother-in-law Tommaso first showed up here to the house, they didn't understand what was going on. The back doors were propped open, but they initially thought that perhaps there was some kind of medical episode, that an...
Well, and that's what, so now he's saying it's just the back doors. That was something we were wondering about the other night. Was it just back doors? Was it the front door too? There's that little pot by the side. Is that part of what they use to prop those doors open? I mean, it just makes you wonder.
Ambulance had come and maybe they took Nancy out the back. But this would all kind of line up with what Savannah said, this reporting that I have now, that there were no signs of an assault inside the house. I'm gonna flip my camera around now because I wanna show you what it's like kind of up closer to the backyard. All right, I'm gonna walk up closer here. And yes, I have permission.
And this was interesting to me. I mean, maybe it's not easy to tell from a camera, but this didn't look like, as far as any kind of, I don't think getting her back there would be an easy task. But as far as, let's say they did put her in the septic, she could be way down in there. The house was built, what, 50 years ago? It's not as rough and tumble as it looks if you've been out there scoping it out before, to me. As far as there's areas where it's just kind of dead grass and dirt and stuff like that, and it may not be great for digging or for an 84-year-old woman to go back through there, but it might not be so hard to carry somebody around back there and dump them. And, you know, where did they look on day one? We can't really trust anything that Nano says.
To be back here, just so you guys know. I've kind of gotten to know a lot of the neighbors, so and I'm not going to go. You see there's these private property signs, so I'm obviously not going to cross onto Nancy's property, and I want to be respectful in that way. But this is, again, it's just kind of surreal to be back here because this is the closest that I mean, I've only seen it from the drone video, but this is the closest I've been able to get to Nancy's backyard. This is obviously her pool area here. You can see that these cameras were put up, which we saw on the drone. These cameras, I believe, are new since, remember we saw people come and put cameras up after everything went down.
And if these guys, let's say they did come from back behind her house so that they weren't seen on the street or anything like that. And maybe they did have walkie-talkies and said, hey, pull the car up. You know, some people think that that guy was limping a little bit. What if he hopped over one of these fences? She was known to leave, it was said the other day, she was known to leave her back doors open. Because I really think that she felt like she was safe out here. So they really didn't have to do anything but just walk right in. And if it was one of the back doors back there, was there a camera that would have caught them hopping over this fence? Maybe that's why he was limping a little bit.
So this is the pool side, and I think there's a gate over here, right down those steps right there. You can't really see it that easily, but like right there is a gate to get into the backyard. And then if I walk,
and off to the right is that other little like walkway, if you remember from when the prosecutor was there, was walking through. And they really were concentrating on that. And that area led off to that piece of land that was next to the house. Hi, Jonathan. That they talked about being public land, where the kids the neighbor talked about kids using that to cut through. It was like a utility road, and the kids would use that to cut through to go to school. And I noticed in that video when they had the prosecutor and all the agents and everything there, that they were really concentrating on that area. They walked back and forth a couple of times through that area. So, you know, we've talked about very early on, this case is not going to be about what they do say. It's going to be about what we see, what we catch, and it's going to be more about what they don't say.
this way. It's all, this is what the brush, that's actually our tent right there, but this is what the area behind Nancy's house looks like. So you can see there's a lot of brush. There's some power lines right above. Very, very dark here at night. And again, I'm gonna be careful of the rattlesnakes because everybody's been telling me.
But how dark if you've got a couple flashlights? Maybe. Who knows? Anybody can get a pair of night vision goggles. We had some when we would go camping with our scouts, mess around with them in the woods. What if they had something like that back there? That guy had a backpack that was full of stuff. Well, and that's just it, my man Jerry. We're just kind of doing updates. We've not been doing the dailies. I don't know if you've been watching, but I was the past couple weeks we've been focusing more on is the Christopher Preciado trial, and that's going to be some ongoing stuff with that. But that's just it, and that's one of the things that we were talking about at the beginning of this, is all those guys going out there. What is there to do anymore? All the evidence that was needed to be found is pretty much found. It's just about theories and, and trying to figure out. I think people still do care, and trying to keep her story going so that there's still people looking, and making that more important than the drama that's surrounding some of the streamers that are out there right now. But no, there's not anything new, and it's really, we talked about this the other day, it's just going to be little bits and pieces there. We're not going to know anything. Somebody does know something, and somebody will spill the beans eventually. Somebody will get mad at a boyfriend. I was talking about a case that I followed last year that was the Linda Sturmer trial, and one of the things, the prosecutor did a great job bringing in the facts and the experts, but one of the things that really got her was her confessing to her cellmate. And, some wrong person gets busted and is mad and says, hey, you know what? my friend John had, I don't know, had a bunch of lace doilies in the back of his car. I don't know what do 84-year-old women have, and I know he did this. It's going to come down to something like that. Or this is someone that is a serial whatever, and they're going to do it again because they're feeling real proud of themselves right now, and they're going to get caught. Hopefully. I mean, everybody has a first victim. All these serial killers that we, watch documentaries about and listen to and talk about. People are sick, and it could be somebody like that. So,
be that. But yeah, let me come around the side here. A lot of cactuses out here. I don't know what animals live in all these holes. There's little holes everywhere back here. But so this is the.
Also, I like Brian Etten, and I just like watching his stuff and talking about it. And I really like his hair. So. And that FBI agent, that Maureen O'Connell, like I'll listen to her talk about anything. She could read a menu, and I'd just be happy sitting there listening to her.
Backside of Nancy's house here. So there's this little patio in the back, which we've seen from the drone. There's this door here, which again, initially thought there was a sliding glass door. It's not a sliding glass door. There's this just regular door with like glass panes on the top.
And that's what I figured too. I thought that was a sliding glass door back there too, because most people do have those on their patio. But now we find out that they're just regular doors.
So that's on one side of the overhang. You can see where there's the...
And that is something new that we found out, is that the way the doors and windows are set up are a little bit different than we thought. So entry and exit points are a little bit different. And that makes a difference of how they did this, how they got in and how they got out.
The glass window here, which a lot of people thought was a sliding glass door. It's really a beautiful backyard. And then there's another door with a screen right here on this edge of on this side of the outdoor area.
Oh, and see, that's a completely different door that I didn't even know about. So would that lead into maybe like a breezeway?
I'm told that screen was propped open. And then in the Savannah interview, she said that doors, plural, were propped open. But I'm told that screen right there was propped open. So this is the outdoor area here in the back. Again, it's really just a beautiful house. I keep thinking about the fact that she lived here since the 19th.
Well, and if that door was propped open, maybe there were multiple people. If they had more than one door propped open.
70s and all the memories that Savannah must have in the backyard. And then there's this is the casita over here. And there's obviously, you can't really see it through the brush. There's obviously a door into the casita, which is like the little guest house, which is next door. So.
And that's another thing that is new, is there is someone claiming to be the daughter of a woman that rented that place. So we're going to see if that's real. But there was an ad found like 8 years ago that she was renting that out, or trying to get a rental out. And she had advertised at Arizona University for that rental.
And again, I have permission to be back here. It is kind of weird being in the back. I'm not really in her backyard. I'm in someone else's backyard, but it's just strange to get this vantage point from the back. And again, this is what it looks like. There's just a ton of like wooded area back here.
But he's easily walking through it with his phone, regular clothes on. It's not
That you can walk through. There's like little trails. It's not like in Florida where there's swamp or there's forest. It's really thick. It's hard to get through. I mean, you can walk around back here. You will see a ton of cactuses and you could stick yourself. I mean, everything has thorns out here. But it technically is, walkable. And they did put these no trespassing signs up all around the house. So again, I'm not going to get too close. But even from this distance, you can see quite a bit the side of the house here. And that's what it looks like. I want to talk to Kurt Dabb, who is a former detective with the Pima County Sheriff's Office. He was there for decades. He came and met me out here a little while ago. I wanted to ask him about some of my new reporting about how there's no signs of an assault inside the house. And then also
I like this guy too. He has some really good points, and I am going to speed this up a little bit.
That's something really interesting to say about something he spotted in our drone video that detectives were doing that I'd never heard anyone talk about before, that I don't think anybody else spotted. So I want to play for you guys my conversation with Kurt. The first thing I want to ask you about, Kurt, is this new reporting we have that, according to a source close to the investigation, there was no sign of an assault inside the house. I mean, we know there was blood on the outside, but inside, and that the house was clean, some of the rooms were immaculate, but there were no visible signs inside. What does that mean to you?
Well, I had heard that information early on from some of the deputies that had responded, that there didn't appear to be, the house wasn't in shambles. Again, I think what that says to me is these individuals felt comfortable being there. They were there for one thing and one thing only, it appears, and that was to take Nancy. Nothing.
And I still don't get why. Unless, like I said, this is a serial thing. Maybe those ransom notes, those first two were real.
Else was disturbed, as far as we know, on the outside.
Why do you think we would see the blood in the front of the house, but nothing inside?
Well, one of the things that, could happen, and I'm basing this on my training and experience, I don't know if this is the way things transpired, but it's one of the ways. If she was still ambulatory and being guided out of the house, whether or not she was bound, her hands or her mouth or anything, she could have put up a little bit of struggle at the door, knowing that, man, if I get out of here, this is the last chance that I have to put up some type of resistance. So I think that may be what happened, and, she might have got hit in the nose or the head, maybe with a fist or a weapon or an implement of some sort.
I wondered about her arm, because they were grabbing her by the arm, and that opened up one of those wounds on the side of her arm again. And that's what the blood was, is because it was maybe it was to the side, and that's why there are no footprints in it.
Because the blood spatter pattern that was in front of the door, it just looked like bleeding from a head wound or a nose wound, where the drips appeared to be just straight down, and there was no direction of travel or direction of spatter or anything. It was just straight down.
When you go into a house as an investigator and it looks clean, I mean, someone's missing, but there's not, an area that's obvious, like, oh, something went down right here, there's a pool of blood, or, oh, there's all sorts of stuff thrown around here. If it just looks clean, what do you do?
Well, you do a very good canvass of the scene. You're going to protect everything that you can. You're going to have the forensic investigators come out, our photographers, and they're going to photograph, they're going to fingerprint, they're going to swab for DNA, but they're going to do that at the direction of the homicide detectives.
That's my question. Was that room immaculate, or that area immaculate because she kept it immaculate? Or, I mean, what did we figure? They were in there for 45 minutes. This is a professional job. Did they have did something happen in that room? Which room was it that was immaculate? And did someone clean something up?
So just because, the house isn't in shambles, or, there's evidence of an assault or something like that, doesn't mean that they're just going to bypass the house. They're still going to fingerprint it, DNA swab it, photograph it.
Does it make it harder?
In one aspect, yes, because...
And did they do that? They returned the crime scene within a day. Were they able to do that before the family got back in there? That's the other question.
You don't know if there was an assault that occurred because nothing got disturbed, but I think in the grand scheme of things, the biggest thing that matters is the blood spatter at the front of the door, because we know that there was an injury, and we know that injury was to Nancy. So it's just a little bit weird that there's not a lot of disarray in the house. But again, if this individual or individuals, as I believe that it's more than one, they had a plan and they carried it, to fruition successful so far.
And you said before you think it's more than one.
Absolutely. One of the theories that, yes, it's got to be one. Now, let's say, it could be many different theories, right? Everyone has their own theory. But I think, somewhere between 3 and 4, maybe 1 and 2, you have someone that's here stationed at the house waiting for her to come home, possibly. that individual goes in the house, subdues her, another guy comes in front, she's, still ambulatory, let's say, and so they're guiding her out the house, and that's where the impact occurs and the blood spatter comes on the ground.
That would make sense. I don't know. I mean, something happened there. Something happened. I'd like to believe she's right that this just didn't happen, but there's something in my gut that tells me that it did. And I said, everything that's going on now, there's nothing that's going to happen in front of our faces anymore, really. It's going to be down to forensics and somebody spilling the beans,
Or, maybe there was one or two or more individuals and they subdued her in the house and took her out, and the blood was a result of an assault that occurred in the house and maybe didn't start bleeding through. Maybe they had her covered. So I just think it's very highly unlikely that it's one individual. Is it possible? Yeah. I don't think one individual is going to carry a non-ambulatory 84-year-old woman out of the house. So if it was one individual, maybe, they got lucky. They were able to subdue her, enough to carry her out. But again, there was no car parked in the driveway that I could see.
I don't think they know. I think that if it was going to happen, it was either going to happen right away. They were going to find her or whoever did it, and they screwed up, and they didn't do the investigating that they needed to, because, as I said, they found out that, like, the lead investigator's only been, he's like a rookie. He's only been there for like 5 years, and he doesn't have the experience that, unfortunately, some of the older detectives that he either let go or left because he was so abominable to work for are gone, and he no longer has their experience. And I think if they had done this, if they had been on this case, I think it would have been a very different case. Well, and that's just it. Is that it? My man Jerry, it's either going to go where she gets completely attacked for going back to work, and it's going to become about that. I don't know. I think, like I said, if this person is somebody that does this often, it'll happen again, and they'll hopefully get caught because they'll be too arrogant, thinking, hey, I got away with this time. And yeah, I do wonder about a few individuals, because I don't know. For it to be one person, it would have to be somebody that she trusted or felt comfortable with. Maybe was familiar with. That's what I think. But multiple doors open, and he said no tire tracks. But how do they know? Because when they got the call that she didn't go to her friend's house for online church, they drove up in the driveway. When the police got there, they drove up in the driveway. How would you be able to tell if there were any tire tracks at this point? Because so many people were in and out of that scene. Because I think they were treating it like an elderly woman that had wandered off or had gone to the hospital without someone, without contacting someone, etc.
So, it leads me to believe that someone was parked down the street with a car. And if that's the case, you have two people here and you have one person in the car. So
If it's like 2, 3, 4 people, though, do you think there's more of a chance that someone would have leaked by now?
Sure.
With the $1 million reward?
Sure, absolutely. One would think it would be probable that would happen. But we don't know what the motive was behind this. We don't know who benefits from this. And if you and I are going to go commit a crime like this, and I'm the one leading it, and I believe, loose lips sink ships, and I think, you may be up to something, who's to say that me as a bad guy wouldn't take you out either? I got to.
I was just going to say that. Maybe there were 4 guys and only one of them is still with us. We've all seen that movie, right? Where one by one they start taking out their partners until it's just the one guy left, nobody left to talk.
Way with killing Nancy or disappearing Nancy, it wouldn't be too hard for, the leader of this group, if you will, to make that decision as well, to take out his partners.
Yeah, but at the same time, if you're like, let's say the getaway driver and the whole plan was for Nancy not to die, for her to be okay, but just to get money, and now all this, didn't go the way they planned, and you're just the getaway driver, couldn't you come to the detectives and say, look, like, I'm not the reason she died. I'll give you the info. If you,
Sure.
I'll tell
That's
you.
probably not going to happen until arrests start getting made. The first one that gets arrested is the one that's going to get the sweetheart deal, if there is a sweetheart deal in this case. Usually in homicide investigations where there's more than one individual involved, one of those individuals will provide information and then possibly get a proffer from the prosecutor to not use any of that information to charge them. So, yeah.
Whoever this is, they're bad people. And so it would probably be very scary to go up against them, I would think, to say, hey, I was the driver, without being forced into it.
Yeah, it's absolutely a possibility.
Has that happened in cases you've worked?
Yeah.
The
majority of homicide cases are that way.
But usually there has to be one arrest first for it to sort of,
Yeah, because, in bad guy parlance, the first one arrested is usually the first one to talk. So all the other bad guys are out there, freaking out. Oh my God, he said something. And even if you didn't say anything, and I think you said something now, we're partners, but I think you're snitching on me. So, what am I going to do? What's my course of action?
So this is the closest we've gotten to the back of the house before. What stands out to you? Is this the closest you've seen it in person?
Yep, never been here.
What stands out to you?
Well, it's like every other house in this and the surrounding neighborhood. It's very well covered by vegetation. It's very easy to sneak and snoop around without being observed.
Exactly. And if she went, who knows what time she went to bed at night. You could walk around out there with your little mouth flashlight and nobody be the wiser. I still wonder about that one camera angle where they said it's from January 11th. Why wasn't there a police report made? Why wasn't someone called in that there was someone outside? Unless, I don't know, that just seems odd to me.
Yeah, especially at night, I bet. It's really dark back here.
100%. There's no streetlights here. You guys have gone over that, ad nauseum, but it's just true. Without the streetlights, and especially, I don't know what the moon was that night, but if you have a partial moon or no moon, it is dark. It's dark. And if you're not looking for something specifically, the chances of you seeing something is, next to impossible.
What about the doors being propped open in the back, now that you can see the doors?
Well, yeah, I see that there are 3 doors back there. And the information, I guess, that I was provided, I think by you guys talking with you and listening, to some of the news snippets is, a door was propped open, or maybe 2. I'd like to know which ones. I think everybody would, but, that would lead to a scout, or a recon of the place, right? Because you got to know your avenues of approach in order to set up something like that. That tells me that this thing was planned. It wasn't, a one-off.
Yeah, that goes back to the January 11th date, those dates that we talked about from before, where someone was probably here looking around.
Dogs in the neighborhood were barking was one of the things, and maybe that's how.
Yeah, that neighbor said the dogs in the neighborhood were barking. They woke him up. They never wake him up. It was right around the time that they were taking her out.
Well, they got those dates, and dogs see all kinds of stuff at night. They have great eyesight, great smell. So, yeah. Yeah,
you're talking about one of the neighbors. The dog woke up in the middle of the night and wanted to go out right around the time that Nancy went missing too, and just looked in the direction of Nancy's house. This is one of the neighbors right over here, which he said the dog never normally does that. It was like 1 morning.
Yeah,
that's strange.
Yeah, it's a clue, right? Yeah. It's definitely a clue. It's something.
Well, and it is sad. I honestly, when I first heard of this case, I was like, Savannah, I don't watch the Today Show. I'm usually running crazy, and it's usually on some Disney something, some Sesame Street something in my house in the morning. But it is very sad because this is someone's mother. This is someone's grandmother. I keep thinking about those grandchildren, and hello, Jane. And the fact that those little kids don't have their grandma anymore, and she's just gone, and the whole world's talking about it, and the fact that there is no closure because they just can't find her. Like, that's
that the investigators need to look at 100%.
In terms of this area where we are now, I mean, do you think, and first of all these people have dogs around here. So I'm just, and if someone tried to come through here in the night, I mean, do you think that's a possibility? They came in through the back, or do you think they just went around Nancy's house?
Yeah, it's absolutely a possibility. It's probably, I mean, if I was going to do something like this, yeah, I would not come up the front. I would drive through the neighborhood a couple of days, you know, just to get the lay of the land and do your scout, look for cameras on porches and telephone poles, and then, you know, make your, the decision about where you're going to go. And coming in through the back, I mean, it just makes perfect sense.
With the back door, let's assume it was propped open like Savannah Guthrie said, her doors. We know there was blood in the front. But what's your theory? Do you think they came in through the back and then left through the front? Or like, how do you see it in your head based on what we've heard?
Yeah, why is the back door propped open? Like, if the back door was propped open and you think someone would be inside, you would think the front door would be opened. Or
Was it for quick exit just in case? Just in case they had to run back out the back and jump over the wall?
unlocked as well. But maybe not, because they didn't know how she was going to, you know, enter the residence. But yeah, I don't know if someone was waiting inside, or maybe they came and did it earlier. You know, they were scouting the location. They saw her leave. Now's our chance. You know, let's get it. It'd be really nice to know how they got in the back. How they.
Yeah, I want to know. That's something that's bugging me. Hi, Marcia. Thanks for subbing. Welcome, welcome. Nerdy is he's more prevalent on X, but he's got a channel on YouTube. He is another like true crime channel, and he and Jlr was also covering this Nancy Guthrie case. They were both covering the Nancy Guthrie case. He's upset about the things that came out about Jlr, and so he flew out to Tucson, and he's there now. I don't know what he's doing, but he's there now. So, and they're in an argument, and it's kind of, unfortunately, it's kind of putting a shadow over this. Well, and that's a huge possibility, Jerry. You're absolutely right. And that's something that eventually there's got to be a point when, you know, we keep her in our hearts, but we got to move on to things that are going right now. Yeah, it's called Nerdy Addict. I couldn't put oh, I wonder if that's what Truth Warrior was talking about, because I just put Nerdy Ad because YouTube wouldn't let me put, I'm going through StreamYard and it gets real touchy about the titles that I use. It won't let me put Nanos in a title. I can't put Sheriff in the title. I can't put Addict in the title. I'm trying to think of some of the other things that I've been trying to fight it. Oh, there are tons of cold cases. In fact, I've got that's kind of how I started out my channel, was covering, like, just doing not live, but just doing videos about cold cases, mostly in my state of Michigan. But and then some of them that had been cold cases that were solved and going back to them. But there are, I mean, that's, unfortunately, there's probably more cold cases than there are solved ones. And yeah, exactly. And that's what they missed on this. And that's what's such a kick in the butt, is that, oh my gosh, if they had just done so many things differently in those, well, the TV show, the first 48, that's the whole point of that show, is those first 48 hours are when you find everything's fresh, everything's there. You're gonna get your best chance at evidence, at DNA, at forensics, all of that stuff. And in the first 48 hours of this case, it feels like, you know, they just kind of sauntered around the house and, you know, walked around the backyard and said, well, we can't find her, so here you go. We'll go do our thing back at police headquarters, and you got the house back. And then what do we see? Next day, boom, FBI in, crime scene tape up, you know, no trespassing, sheriff's deputies there again. then back off, then back. I think it was 3 times. And now they're talking about one of the rooms being immaculate. Well, which time when they went there, was it the FBI that found it to be immaculate? Was it the sheriff? Now, I have heard from Brian Enton that they're supposedly getting along a little bit better and working together. But that is a very likely possibility that she will never be found because of the terrain, because of the, animal species that live around there, because of all of that. And this person, it might have been their one and only thing. But shoot, we still don't really know who DB Cooper is. I mean, think about stuff like that. Someone knows something, but there are people that literally take things to the grave with them. And depending on what this has to do with, that could absolutely be a possibility. Especially if you're dealing, we've heard some people talk about the cartel being involved. Okay, but if that's the case, nobody's talking. No, JLR, he was flying into Tucson, and JLR went to the airport and confronted him, got in his face, and the police saw the video of it. And what is he charged with? He got charged with, what was it? Was it public nuisance or something like that? And he has to be back in court on, when is it? So he's got to go to court in April in Pima County. For 28-26, he's got to go to court in Tucson. Let's see. Now, this same guy released some photos. Does this say the charges? No, this doesn't say that. Oh, disorderly conduct. That's what he got. The same guy released some photos that he says were FOIA'd from Washington. I'm not going to show them on here because they've got some BLOOD in them, and I don't know. I don't have any way at the moment of making sure that they are factual pictures. There's nothing really identifying about them, if that makes sense. So I don't want to show anything that I don't know is real. So
Prop open. How did they gain entry into the house? Like there's no information from the sheriff's department at all that there was forced entry anywhere, and the main house or the pool house. So that's a very big tell about how well this was planned if they were able to go in without forcing entry.
And Nancy may have just left her back door open.
Quite possibly.
How many people around here do that?
Yeah.
Unlocked?
No, not up here. People like to protect their property. Tucson.
I thought it was said though that she was known to leave her back doors open. And I can see that because it's all of this, this big high, like somewhat high. And if she's been there since the 60s, it's hard to get out of the habit of, and the neighbor said that they sometimes don't lock their doors, that it's not, they feel safe in that neighborhood.
Pima County is a very violent place. There's an awful lot of burglaries. I'm from a small town in Michigan where I grew up, and we didn't lock our doors. We didn't lock our cars. Maybe it's just me, but my neighbors, I was a cop, my car's parked out front. I lock my doors, they lock their doors. So I think pretty much everybody up here locks their doors.
Michigan's different though. See, in Michigan, we got cities like Flint and Detroit, Hamtramck. Yeah. And there's a lot of people can walk around, like you can walk into the grocery store with a rifle and stuff, and it's like perfectly legal. Like, it's a little different around here. We're very woodsy people. If that makes sense.
But sometimes we forget, you know.
When I was just wondering, with her living here since the 70s, maybe she just got comfortable, you know?
Quite possibly.
So there are a lot of burglaries?
That's what I
Yeah,
think.
there's a lot of burglaries in Tucson. I don't know, up in this neck of the woods, there are burglaries, but they usually happen during the daytime when everybody's at work.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've had a couple, you know, where they're at nighttime, a couple up in this area, you know, where it happened in the afternoon, but it's not an everyday occurrence, but they do happen. People like to protect their stuff, so.
To me, the burglary gone wrong theory is just not possible at this point.
I agree.
It doesn't seem like it makes sense.
I mean, the only time a burglary would come up into this is it's a lesser and included charge in homicide/kidnapping for this investigation.
Well, my thought is too, is that if it's burglary, like you just said, they usually happen during the day when people aren't home. Burglars don't usually like to confront people. They don't want to have any kind of argument or confrontation. They want to go in, they want to take everything that's valuable that you have and leave before you know, and then you get home and you realize you've been violated. You know, that's usually how burglaries work. Home invasions, home burglaries at least.
Because burglary is breaking and entering into somebody's property with the intent to steal something, a theft, or commit a felony therein. So it would be a charge. If they arrested somebody, you know, they'd be charged, if it turns out to be a homicide, with a homicide, kidnapping, and a burglary charge.
I think that was one of the things. Didn't they charge Brian Kohlberger with that because he broke into the house technically? I thought that was something. I'm going to have to Google that.
So, but people don't show up at houses with a backpack full to commit a burglary.
Right.
In my experience.
And it was such a full bathroom.
Yeah,
it was like jam full.
He had his kidnapping kit in there.
Yeah.
Is what I believe.
What stood out to you? You mentioned to me the drone video you saw, and you could tell what some of the investigators were doing.
Yeah, it was early on, probably within the first week or so, or maybe the second week. The FBI came back and they were taking the cameras off the roof of the house, and I think the other pool house. But during that time, I saw forensic investigators taking photographs, and what appeared to be to me was perspective shots, which would be, you know, you have information that somebody is standing in a particular location. Let's say an officer involved shooting, for instance. You know, the next day, everyone will come together, the photographers, the prosecutor will come out, and you'll do a walk around, and they'll ask the officer or deputy, you know, where were you standing when you shot? So what they would do is they would stand where they were, and then a photographer would come from behind them and, you know, take a perspective shot as what that deputy or officer is.
Well, I think that's why they were looking in the flower beds too and stuff to see if someone was standing in there.
Seeing. So when I saw that, you know, a number of weeks ago, it was weird to me because there was no information about a shooting. However, there were cameras, I guess, on the roofs, and maybe they were using those perspective shots to, you know, get height, you know, some type of measurement or something like that. But that's what it appeared they were doing when I saw that.
So you think it's for height?
It could be for a number of things. It could be for height. It could be just getting a perspective of if someone was to jump over this wall at this location, you know, what are they going to be seeing?
Have you seen them do that before? Like just, you know, non-officer involved?
No. Usually in homicide investigations where there is a shooting involved, or, you know, an assault or a stabbing or something like that, that's, you know, where those things would come into play.
So it's now been almost 2 months since we first met, when we first got here, you know?
Yeah, we are. We're at day 61 now. And that just amazes me. Yeah, it is crazy, Marcia. And it's sad because it's like, it's going to turn, when stuff like that happens, it turns all these cases into being about that instead of being about the missing person or the missing child. And it's just so sad because, yeah, nothing. There's literally nothing. And now we've got all this drama starting, and it's just, none of it makes sense. None of it makes sense to me. And I really think, you know, it's nobody wants to believe this, but I don't think that if she's found, I think it's going to be a long, long time from now.
I'm just trying to think back to when
and it's going to be completely on accident.
First started talking. I think, you know, I was hopeful that, you know, maybe in a couple of weeks, things were going to move quickly, FBI involved. Yeah. What are your thoughts now that it's been 2 months?
Well, I think in that first interview, you know, I said, man, this looks like a real professional deal. And then, you know, I kind of went, well, this guy's like fumbling around, you know, maybe it's not professional, you know, maybe he's just an idiot. Well, he is an idiot, that's for sure. But it is just, it's mind-boggling. Whether this was a professional thing and there was no who benefits from it, maybe they benefit. You know, maybe it was something that was done to get back at the family, you know, for some reason. But they were either really, really, really pros or really, really, really lucky so far. And I think it's a mixture of the two right now.
That's what I think. I think there's a mixture of smart people and idiots that took care of this, you know. You send the henchmen in that aren't always real smart to do the dirty work. But who? Who is the big question, and why?
I think you got to have some facet of experience and training to.
And do they know why? That's my question too, because we don't know. We still don't know what those ransom notes said. So, do they already have an explanation why in those ransom notes? You would think that if you send a ransom note to someone, if these ransom notes are real, because they're revisiting them, that would be one of the reasons that they would tell you why.
Carry out something like this and be successful for 2 months.
Yeah, so many of the law enforcement experts I've interviewed, like you, have started off saying, gosh, this looks like an idiot. The gun was out, from, to picking the grass up, to then kind of saying, well, I don't know, maybe. And now they were kind of shifting to like, I think this may have been more professional than we realized.
I think the longer, that this goes, everyone's theory is going to evolve, right? Yeah. Everybody's...
And I've never seen a man carry a pistol like that. It's not safe. No man wants to shoot off his jewels, okay? Like that really, that hit me. That I just thought that's not real polished, Just
trying so hard to figure out the clues with the very limited amount of clues that we have. And I, myself, much like you, and I think many other people thought once the FBI was involved, they got El Mencho down in Mexico, they got Maduro down in, Venezuela, and, they can find people in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And it was just very surprising to me. One of the things that someone brought up on another podcast about a week ago that I did, they asked about satellite imagery, and I'm like, oh, satellite imagery, that's thinking outside the box, right? So who you reach out to find out if there were any satellites above, if they have the capability of capturing video or photographs.
That's a really good idea. That's how they found that one plane that went down that, was it Malaysia Air? They actually there's a site, and I don't know what it is right now. I'll find it from the driver. But there's a site where you can go on and you can search the satellite imagery in a grid on certain dates. And if there was a satellite somewhere near there at that time, at that day, I never even thought about that. But that was how they found like the wing, and it was months and months and months later. They found that the wing or something floating in one of those like floating garbage piles in the ocean that is like in an area where not many people go.
How the hell do you write a search warrant for something like that as a local cop? And who are these entities? So that's another thing that thinking outside the box that possibly could be used. That I don't know if it was or not.
Especially with like FBI involved now, there's all sorts of.
And they've got all the technology. That's why it's the geofencing thing where you put up a theoretical fence around an area, around this 1 or 2 mile area, so you can see what cell phones were being used at that time. And the fact that, as far as we know, they don't have putting anybody here. But then there was information about the jammer and all that stuff. I thought that was malarkey, but people use it. You can buy them on Amazon for a couple bucks. So.
And the thing is, and I'm not trying to go out conspiracy theory, but and I know they can't use it probably because they use it for, like big government military stuff, but there are satellites out there that can literally look inside of our house and tell what kind of underwear we have on right now. And it's too bad that we can't use some of that technology to find missing people, missing children, to find exactly what happened, I don't think somebody's watching us constantly, but I think if they want to know something about us, it's not that hard for the quote unquote thems to find it out. And what's going on with who, her, which her? I don't know. I don't know the her you speak.
I think that these individuals, I think this was a well-planned and well-executed caper, unfortunately.
Do you think the person or people responsible are close by?
What do you mean by close by?
In Tucson?
Like
in the Tucson area?
Someone from Tucson responsible, or do you think they're still in the area?
Do you think they're still in the area?
I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. Whether or not they're from the area or whether or not they're still here. I don't know.
I just thought, since if it's true that the person cased the house January 11th, which would have been 3 weeks before,
yep,
you know, it'd be a long way if you're from another state or something to come
sure,
back over and over again.
Sure.
Also, Nancy Guthrie's kind of a random person to hold for ransom. You know what I mean? Like, it almost seems like it would be a local who would know that she lived here and would think that would be a good ransom person. You know?
Well, yeah, but I think the first time I found out about Savannah was last year or something, when they did that hometown thing, and it was on the news here. So, I mean, anybody could have seen that. And I mean, they just had the anniversary of John Hinckley, you know, shooting Reagan. You know.
I've wondered about that too. That bugs me, that hometown thing, and all those people, you know, kind of learning what she was doing, where she went, their favorite restaurants, all that stuff. Like, Well, okay, so I guess earlier today, Nerdy Addict was going to Tucson. And I don't know what exactly he was going to do out there. If he was going to protest JLR or confront him, I don't really know. But apparently when he got off the plane, he was in baggage claim, and JLR ran up to him and got in his face and was screaming at him about his record that he has, and I believe Nerdy Addict called the police, and JLR was charged with, after watching the video, the police saw the video and charged JLR with disorderly conduct, and he's got to go back to court in Pima County on April 28th now to deal with that charge. Well, that's yes, that was what we were talking about at the beginning, is that I honestly think that no, I think it wasn't on live, it was just on a video. But that's what we were talking about earlier, is that, are they doing this because they care? Because literally it's just sitting out front of her house looking at a cactus all day. And I understand that they handed out flyers this week, but that could have been done. I totally understand. I totally understand, my man Jerry, because that's exactly what we were talking about earlier. Is it helping or is it just harming us? What is the reason? And I even said earlier, there's a couple of guys out there that are local. And if anything pops off, they can be there in a couple minutes and stream whatever. So I don't understand people coming from other states to go sit out there. I don't understand that. I think that is, and I absolutely hate the term, like, I don't know, does it fall under grifting? Does it fall under tragedy pimping? When he himself said, before all this came out, that he was going to have to go home soon because nothing was really going on. It was all going to be down to, again, forensics, investigations, things, behind the scene things, and that he could cover all of that, still get the information that he needed from home. And then all this stuff comes out. He agrees to the restraining order terms. That case is closed, and only that case, by the way. It has nothing to do with criminal charges. It's nothing to do. It's separate. It just means that they don't have to go back to court. Hi, Megan Els. That's all it means. And unless someone violates it, and that's either party, even though she's the one that filed for it and requested it, she cannot break those same terms. It goes for both people. But yeah, at this point, it's about, I think, damage control for his reputation. And which, like I said earlier, you take out all this stuff even that happened recently. When I went and did research, which I should have done it beforehand, the things that he has done, that he has admitted, that have come out of his mouth, out of his face, on videos that he put out there. These aren't cut, these aren't edited, they're interviews. There's, in fact, I'm going to put her link up here again. This is, her channel is called, it's Melly. He wrote a book about a lot of his stuff that he did. And she was reading it in excerpts. And it's on her channel. And so I highly recommend going and watching that. If you don't want to, don't buy his book. You know, I mean, don't waste the money. Just listen to her. And, but what really, really got me is when I read that he, and he was proud of this, that he would create a bunch of different accounts under fake names to look like trusted news channels, pages, whatever, and purposely put out false information on cases just to see it integrate itself into this and create situations like this, because this is the stuff that he loves. When he talked about suing YouTubers, he doesn't care if he wins or loses. He cares if he makes you uncomfortable. He cares if he wastes your time and your money, even though it's stupid. You still have to go. You still have to answer it if it goes through. That's the part that he likes. It doesn't have anything to do with winning or losing. It has to do with just poking. Well, and that's exactly it. They're sitting there and they're trying to create stuff for content right now until the next big thing comes up. And that's why I know it seems like I hop between stories sometimes, but it's absolutely because of that. You know, I started just doing like little updates on Nancy Guthrie. Like we did maybe a 5-minute update in the beginning or in the end. And we started watching this Christopher Preciado stuff because that is a case that needed attention. And his dad's getting ready to go back to court to answer for his charges for helping his son clean up a murder of 2 young people and their unborn baby. And I try to follow the Kelly Bryant story. That's the mother that left her 3 children abandoned for 4 years with no human contact except each other in a condo in Pontiac. So I may not always have, you know, I'm not the type of, I don't know what I am. What am I? Am I a creator? I don't know. Content creator. I'm not the type of channel that's going to do the same thing every single day. I cannot watch cactuses. I just can't. And if something big, I'm constantly monitoring stuff. Truth Warrior. Poor Truth Warrior. I haven't seen her in here. She probably has internet trouble again tonight. But you know, we're constantly looking for some of these stories that need to be brought up, because I don't want to beat a dead horse, you know. And there is only so much you could talk about, and this is true. And I am jealous because I think those ones, they look like They look like aloe, and I literally cannot get my aloe to grow like more than an inch out of the plant, and it's really stressing me out right now. But I digress. I mean, yeah, I can grow almost any flower outside except for roses. Roses hate me. But I can grow those wave petunias, and they will reach like 4 feet outside of my planter. Just huge, luscious. But a succulent, nope. I think I overlove it. Like, do you remember that that Bugs Bunny cartoon where that monster is like sitting there rubbing his head too hard? Like, I'm gonna love it and squeeze it and call him George. Like, that's what I do to my plants. So I need something like petunias that are real like diva and picky, so that they need all that like too muchness that I give out. So, but no, and that's the thing, and it's gonna have to, because if there's no new leads coming in, if there's no new information, if they don't find her, if nobody gets in, then it's only, there's so many more missing people and missing children out there. And there are so many other cases. Like I just saw today, which I want to catch up on that too, the Tepe case with is it Monique and is it Spencer Tepe, where her ex-husband broke in after stalking and obsessing over her for 10 years. I mean, that's so sad. That's another family that deserves justice. Those 2 little babies don't have parents anymore because of some sick freak that can't just break up with somebody. I mean, it's just craziness. It's craziness. But yeah, even without this whole DV thing, I didn't know that that's the things that he did. I didn't know he lied. I didn't know he created false news. I didn't know that he sued, what was it, Gabriella Gifford. He sued her using the identity of her shooter. Sued her for being wrongfully imprisoned. That's sick. There's videos out of him pulling a knife up to his wife's neck. It's not funny. And she's just sitting there numb. This is not a good person. These are videos that they put out. This isn't rumor. It's not drama. It's the truth that a lot of us stuck by, watched, gave props to a very sick person that likes to hurt people and then wants to go out and stand for 12 hours and make money off of advocating for someone. That's not advocating. That's, I don't know, it's like the fishbowl guy at the carnival. You know, you're never going to get that ping pong ball in the carnival. You're going to keep paying your money. And they're not searching. No, at least Dad's gone live. I have seen him driving around trying to search. But there's not been searching going on. So at this point, what does it do? Okay, sorry. I'll quit divulging. We'll finish this. I'm very emotional today, if you can't tell.
That guy was crazy, and other celebrities have gone through things with, and even not. I mean, Lieutenant Bob Krieger, retired sheriff's department, that's been on your show and spoke with you. He had a stalker. I mean,
really?
Sure.
Never told me that. Wow.
Yeah. So when you get somebody that that has, and I'm not saying that this is the result of some mentally deranged individual. I don't think that. I think it's just a well-planned operation, and we still don't know what the motive is yet.
And just lastly, how would you describe the mood in Tucson right now? I mean, are people frustrated? Are they surprised it's still gone? Are people moved on?
I think it's a mixture of all of them, right? I think some people have moved on. Some people are like, oh my God, thank you. There's thousands of other missing people, and they need media too. I think a lot of people were really disheartened when you and the other media entities left, because it's not, when you're not doing things, you're not drawing publicity to the case, which is important for something like this, especially because it's so old. I mean, it is extremely cold, if you will, because it's been so long. It doesn't mean that the investigation has gone cold, but the initial hoopla, so, and then there are people that just
For real. And sorry about that. I start choking on an ice cube. That'll be how I go out. I'll be on live. I'll choke on. No, I'll probably choke on one of my cinnamon candies that I eat all the time when I'm streaming. But that's just it. I mean, I don't think it's technically a cold case, like what people would consider a cold case classified yet. But like I said, at one point, you want to maybe still try to keep her in people's memories, but you have to start using resources for other things and other people.
Don't care. And that's unfortunate because, they may be somebody that sees something or hears something and they're not going to say anything because they just don't care. So, but I think most of the local community in Tucson, Pima County, even the state of Arizona, is still very much enthralled with this investigation and want to see it come to some type of fruition.
All right, so I really appreciate Kurt for taking the time to talk with me. It's been nice kind of getting to know people here in Tucson. A lot of people who work at the sheriff's office, a lot of people who do work at the sheriff's office. So,
yeah, and I'm glad Brian Etton's back out there. But again, he's not just sitting there all day. He's going out, doing a spiel. And he's a reporter. That's what he's supposed to do. I mean,
I appreciate his time. Interesting, just again, seeing the back of the house for the first time, just kind of a different perspective on the whole thing. A couple of other things that I'm going to be working on while I'm here in Tucson this week that I'll get to you guys later in the week. Some of them are really, I think you guys will find really, really interesting. And that's about it. If you guys, if anybody knows anything, I've said this before, but it's like Savannah said this in her interview, even if someone was just acting strangely, something stood out to someone, any little bit of information, you never know what little bit of information could actually help crack the case wide open. The number, of course, is 1-800-CALL-FBI, and you can call and you can remain anonymous, because it's just hard to believe that it has now been 59 days, so almost 2 full months since Nancy Guthrie went missing from her house behind me. It's hard to wrap your mind around. I mean, it's such a quiet area out here. It's like, to think that someone or multiple people came back here, whether they came into the back of the house, front of the house, and took this woman away, and that no one knows where she is or who is responsible or what happened, and it has been almost 2 months, is still very, very difficult to wrap your mind around. So hopefully someone will know something. Again, it's 1-800-CALL-FBI. I appreciate you guys for watching, appreciate you guys for supporting the channel, as always, and I've got some more stuff cooking for this week, so I'll keep you guys posted. All right, catch you guys.
So yeah, that's... Hello, Miss Nadia. No worries, no worries. Good to see you, good to see you. And technically, it's 12:01 in Michigan, so it's day 62. But, yeah, I mean, that's it. We're going to have to... See, that's exactly me too, Megan. I'm like afraid to say I like anybody anymore. Like, am I the jinx? Am I the... No. But, and that's what I felt really bad about, is that because I didn't know any of that history. And I think I lost some subscribers that I really, really liked because they tried to warn me about him. And I just thought, oh, because I don't want to be a gossiper. I don't, I mean, that's not my thing. And oh, it might be, yeah, because tomorrow's Good Friday. Tomorrow's Good Friday, and then Sunday's Easter, which, ooh, I got to get to the store tomorrow. That's what I was supposed to do today. And I ended up on the phone with, doing business calls today, and I'm frustrated. That's why I was all grumpy and frustrated. Because I got charged a late fee when I wasn't the one that was late. I mailed my payment on time, and they didn't process it because it got lost somewhere, and then charged me a late fee. Now, I got my late fee taken off after getting... Well, I didn't say any bad words, okay? I did not say any bad words, but that man was stress giggling halfway at the end of the conversation. He's like, I'll put that in for you. I'll get them take that. Yeah, you better. After arguing with them for an hour on the phone about that. No, I didn't do this. Yes, that's why I've got to go get all the stuff for I got to get the stuff for the boys too tomorrow. But we're not doing, what's everybody doing for Easter? Oh, I've said some bad words when nobody was around. I'm trying to be really good because my little guy is a little minor bird and he repeats everything. So I got to be careful. And my oldest is absolutely against swearing. And so when I say a bad word, he always calls me out on it. But yeah, I want to get some candies, and especially because my oldest is really picky about the candies that he likes. He only likes gummies and like peanut butter cups. So thank goodness Reese's makes peanut butter cup bunnies, so I can get him one of those. But I have to make sure that I put it up high, because last year, well, now little brother's a year older this year, but last year he walked up and was opening up Big Brother's bunny, and so I had to hurry up and run and go out and get another bunny. So we didn't know. And oh, I love those. And the robin's eggs, we used to use those to put on like lipstick. That's what I have to get. I'm going to get a ham tomorrow. But what we do, my guys don't like just regular ham. So what I usually do is I get a ham and I cut it up and I make roasted cheesy potatoes, and super easy. You can leave the skins on them, everything. And then I cut up the ham and I put it over that. So I make kind of like almost like a casserole. Put that in the oven. And then we have, we're going to, my mom passed away in September. So we want to have some of her favorites. So she loved that pea and peanut salad. I'm going to make some of that. I've got, I stink at making pies, but she always loved, it's by Marie Callender. It's called razzleberry pie. And I found, I had gotten a couple of them and put them in the deep freezer because we were going to have that. We always try to make sure we've got one for every holiday because that was her favorite pie. So I'm going to do that. And then I have to get like a banana cream for Driver. He likes that. And so, yeah, that's usually our dinner. And then I usually make like did I make Jlr salad last year? I'm trying to think. We're so comfort country food here. Like I used to make like it's the fruit salad where you put like the whipped cream, cream cheese, and pudding together. You mix that all together. And oh, I love banana cream pie. Oh, that's one of my favorites. My grandma used to make, the kind that you baked in the oven that was like the banana cream. And oh my gosh, so good. But I'm probably not going to make it. Blessings back to you. I think I'm going to get it from, we have a Big Boy near us, and they make a really, really good banana cream pie. And they usually give us a real good deal on it because we're always there. So I think I'm going to do that. Oh. Wow. So now the newest news, this was posted an hour ago. Jlr said he's going to, as soon as he gets back to Florida, he's going to park outside of Nerdy Addict's house and let everyone know his record. So see, that's what this is becoming. That's what this is becoming. Oh no, you're fine, Truth Warrior. I said I felt bad. I was gonna try to send you some here. Let me see if this works. Just a second. Okay, that noise was good internet juju. I'm sending that to you. Oh, okay. Oh, good. That's okay. That's okay. That is so funny. I do that all the time. Hello, hello. I got change. I like that name. That's cute. Oh, eggs. Oh my gosh. My man Jerry. I'm so glad you sent that. I totally forgot about eggs. Yes, we got to get eggs because both boys are going to be home. And I've got the cups and I've got the food coloring. I just need the eggs because I think we only have like 4 left. I'm going to have to check. Oh my gosh. See, I'm so glad I have you guys. Last year, we were all sick, and so we didn't do eggs, and we ended up just having all the plastic ones, but none of the boys eat the eggs, but I do. I always make like egg salad afterwards, or I just eat them for my breakfasts and stuff, and so like we need those eggs. Oh yeah. We used to do them every year. My mom always did them with me, and I always remember that little metal thing you put the egg down in, and she never let me use it because she knew I was gonna blop water all over the place, and so I got to put the egg on it, and then she lowered it and brought it back up. And like I remember that smell of like vinegar. She put a little bit of vinegar in the water. Oh my gosh. Too funny. And I've got their Easter baskets already because my oldest has one that's it looks like a big minion, and then the little guy loves Spider-Man still, so he's got a Spider-Man bucket, and I've just got to go I would need stuffed animals and the candy, and then a couple little goodies. Usually get them each like a movie, and my oldest, we usually try to get him a gift card. But hi Doug, how you doing? Good to see you. And then my the little one's easy to please. Some Hot Wheels and stuff like that, and you're good. Oh, I've never had goose eggs. No, I haven't. My dad used to love pickled eggs. He grew up on the farm though, and they like pickled everything. So he loved all that stuff. Oh yeah, no, I love these memories. The chocolate, oh yes, the chocolate covered marshmallow candy eggs. Yes. In fact, I went looking for those last year and I couldn't find them. Oh, I will. I think I'm gonna do bubbles too. And I also found a pack of what is it? They're crayons that are shaped like eggs, and they were in a bag that I completely forgot about from last year. So thank goodness I had a brain cloud moment, because in that bag were 2 bubble wands and that pack of those crayons. So yeah, I'm gonna have to look at Walgreens. They always have a huge selection of candy. I love the Peeps. And somebody said, I saw that there are the Rice Krispie Treat Peeps, and somebody said they're really, really good. Oh, I used to love the Cadbury cream eggs, but they changed them. Like now, the yolk and the cream is all the same. Where it used to be, like the cream was like really creamy and drippy, and then the center, the yellow, was kind of like looky like an egg. I'll have to try them. Oh, my dad used to love pickled pig's feet. Oh, that, and what is that? What's that lunch meat? It's made out of like calves' brains. Is that like head cheese or something? Oh, he used to love that too. Oh, and liver and onions. Like there's just some things I cannot do. I think that's what it was. He'd always be like, this is so good. This is so good. But see, he grew up out in the middle of like Amish. So like they used every part of the animal that they possibly could. And like, now I can get down with some Spam. if spam, a nice spam, grilled spam sandwich, I can get down with that. And it is good if you put it in, like for a cheap meal, those little boxes of the freeze-dried scalloped potatoes. Cut up some spam, throw it in there. That is some good country eating, cheap too. Yeah, a lot of the candies aren't the same. Oh, my dad used to love olive loaf too. Yep, he always had it in his fridge. He had olive loaf. He'd have that mac and cheese loaf too. He loved that. And those little packets. They were the little plastic packets of lunch meat. My dad's absolutely 100% German. He loved liverwurst. Oh yeah, he loved that. In fact, they used to make fun of me and tell me that I needed my German card revoked because I don't like beer. I don't like sausage and liverwurst and all that stuff. I'm not into that. And yeah, no. Many times I was just sitting there eating salad. I'll just have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and I'll be good. No, thank you. The scrapple. What's scrapple? I've heard of that before. Oh, pimento cheese spread is good. No, not yet. We're going to do that probably tomorrow. We've got Truth Warrior is going to be on with me if she doesn't fall asleep. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Oh man, see, this is the part that I like, is at the end when we get through all the sad stuff, when I get off my soapbox about something and we start talking about like food and stuff like that. Yeah, yep, she's up tomorrow night. And I'm going to try and we're going to figure out what time, but I think it'll be best if it's after, like, as long as my little guy is in bed and like definitely down, so I don't have to like pause and run away or anything like that. Because I am not of the YouTube channel caliber yet to be able to afford to have 2 hosts on my StreamYard subscription. So I can't leave her behind. She won't be able to have any controls on anything. But no, I'm not throwing shade. Did I tell you last night I fell asleep after I got off live? I went and I think I texted you for a few minutes, and I ended up missing Nadia's text. I was sitting in the chair. I was waiting for my blanket to get done drying because I changed the sheets and everything. That was the last thing to go. And I woke up in the chair because I had fallen asleep so hard that I was biting my tongue. I'm like, oh, yeah, I think that'll be good. Because it's Friday night. Like I said, my oldest will be on his way to bed. My youngest will definitely be in bed and asleep by then. And I did, both sides of my tongue, and they are so sore. I can't even eat my cinnamon buttons today because I bit myself so bad. Good grief. But yeah, that'll definitely work. Scallops, spam, bell peppers, sliced all colors, jalapeno pepper, banana pepper. Oh, Driver would really like that. He loves all kinds of peppers. Back in our garden in the summer, he tries growing all different. Oh, that's right, Doug. You said you were going to send me the rest of that text. I've got to go back in there. I've got to figure out what's wrong with that email. Oh, I'm telling you, the housemaid. I haven't, yeah. See, every time I email anybody back, they're not getting my replies. We just got done watching. I think I told you that. What is it called? Is it Beauty? It was on Fox. We found it on Hulu. It is really, really good. I did see that picture. It's like, I just wanted to know just the details about him. I was just curious about the what, the why, the where, because all I got was just 2 pictures, but because I had emailed you back, because the eyes are like, excuse me, those eyes are haunting, and that's gonna be what this is. If somebody sees, yeah, we probably did. Sharing the brain again. But that's what's gonna come down to too, is someone recognizing those eyes. Because facial hair you can shave. You can change different things about yourself. Okay. I'll check it out later. I'll check it out tomorrow. After I have coffee. They don't know that my ADD will let me, my ADHD actually, will let me read and absorb anything. Today was one of those days. And like I told everybody, I ended up being a little bit late because I broke a stupid glass on my way. My big old booty hit the table. The glass fell off, broke everywhere. So I had to go clean that up first so that nobody's like, before I go to bed, I'm going to run some duct tape over the floor. And I got to find that first, but just to make sure that nobody gets sliced open. I mean, I'm the only one usually in this room, so it'll be me, but still, I don't need any more injuries. Oh, I don't know. Is there a menu button on the TV? See, that's okay. I'm old school. I need buttons on TVs. I'm getting sick and tired of trying to. Oh no, I didn't hurt myself yet, but I'm a klutz, and one of my nicknames is Gutsy. So I just want to make sure, as long as none of the kids get anything, I'm good. Oh, yeah. I didn't think about that. My cable, I can do that on my phone. I can change the channel and stuff. I didn't think about that. See, now I'm going to do that because I have our remote to our one TV. We've got in the downstairs we have, and I do not recommend these TVs. I hate them. It's an Amazon Fire TV. Now, granted, I can't complain because we got it for free. A company that Driver used to work for their bonus every Christmas, they gave you like points you could use as cash, like in a catalog that they give you. And so he picked this TV. We had Amazon Prime, we had all that stuff. That's great, but it's not compatible with all apps, and it just constantly, you'll be in the middle of watching something and it just restarts. It just shuts off. It freezes all the time. It's an absolute pain. I would never ever in my life. You're better off buying a regular, like a Vizio or one of the better known brands of TVs, and just getting a Fire Stick to use on it, because we've had nothing but trouble with that TV. And hopefully we might be able to. My oldest would know. He knows how to do all that stuff. Yeah, I like the Roku stuff. We have a TV that we bought at Christmas time that we need to put up. We're replacing the old TV in the living room with, because it's not a smart TV. It's got a line through it and stuff like that. And I'm trying to think of the brand that it was, but it's Roku compatible. So the kids can watch all their shows, because my little guy watches the It's one of the Roku, the kids channels, and it's sometimes it's kind of cute, sometimes it's not. It has this guy on there called Carl's Car Wash. And oh, it's like, now my generation remembers Mr. Bill. He's kind of the Mr. Bill of my youngest generation. So his voice gets to be a little bit much. But it teaches kids how to count. He knows how to count to 100. He knows how to count by 2s and by 4s and by 6s now. And so, I mean, that's, Oh, I bet. That's what I was saying is we've got a yeah, exactly. We had Mr. Rogers. I've got to take my boys into Tractor Supply so they can see all the new baby chicks, because they always get them in this time of year, and see all the little roosters, little baby chicks, and all the ducks and the geese, and they're really cool there. They let the kids go in and look at them and stuff like that. And my youngest is 5. Here, put them in bubble wrap. My neighbor tried to have ducks, but the foxes and coyotes kept getting them out here, and so she felt too bad. She felt like she was like just feeding the wildlife out here. So she said she quit buying it. She quit, getting new ones because she felt so bad. Is it? I didn't know that. See, my mom grew up on farms, and now we have a family story about my granddad taking my mom to work in town. And he was always getting a really good deal. He was always, like he's the guy you want to take with you to get a car, all that stuff. And we'd gotten a call just before they were getting ready to leave about this deal on this like miniature horse. And so here they go. They're in a Chevy Bel Air, driving her into town, and they had to stop and pick up this horse, and they literally put it in the back seat. My mom was so embarrassed driving into town with a horse in the back seat of the car. That's the kind of people I come from, just so you know. Well, see, I don't know that she had a coop. I think they were just like free range. And so they had a big pond that the ducks were living on and stuff. And I think that was the problem. They were just out in the open, and it literally was like a buffet out there. Mm-hmm. The travel TVs. That's hilarious. Well, there's this one creator, and her name is Nonsense, and she comes up on my timeline every once in a while. And she was, for a while, her and her husband were, I think they were helping work at like a what was it? What are the hairy cows? Do you know what I'm talking about? Oh, thank you. I got changed. What are those hairy cows? They're so cute. They've got like bangs. They have yes, the Highlands. I think they're like mini Highlands or something, or they're babies. But her and her husband were transporting them, and like they were helping on a farm. She was doing like some lives like from the farm, and oh my gosh, they were so cute. Well, yeah, but like the cows with the hairdo. Like I guess I think of like regular cows as like short hair. Is that right? Short hair. Oh my gosh, they're so cute. And they had them in an RV, and they had to build this thing in the RV to be able to transport them like across, to deliver them like to the farm they were going to go to. Oh, they were so stinking cute. Oh, I totally would. Bunny, Jelly Roll's husband. There's a rumor to start going. No, Bunny, Jelly Roll's wife. She has. Oh, he's so stinking cute. I love anything with a hairdo. That's why I love my Newfoundland so much. I can brush him and comb him. Oh, that's hilarious. I love the goats in pajamas. That cracks me up. You put pajamas on your goats before you're. Tell me you don't. But no, they were so cute. They're so sweet. And I love all that like fluffy hair that they got going on. Their little horns, they're so adorable. Especially as they're babies, because they're just really extra fuzzy. But no, you will be surprised. I actually follow a couple farms that on Facebook because I love the cows. They're so funny. And I actually follow some what are they called? Farriers that like do their like the hoof trimming and stuff like that. I don't know why, but it calms me. Oh no, did you fall just now? Oh no. That's not good. That's not good at all. I've been sore today. I tweaked my back getting out of bed today, but that's such an old lady thing to do, but that's where I'm at now in my life. Oh yes. Well, we have a farm nearby that has sheep, and the boys love driving by and seeing the spring lambs, and that's where we get all our honey from there. And so when we pull in, they get to see, and like when she's shearing the sheep, it's so funny. You know, they're walking around all like woo, because all of a sudden they got hair on their skin. And they have little mini Broncos there too, and they're stinkers, but they are so cute. Oh wow. Oh, the Budweiser Clydesdales. I love those Budweiser Clydesdales. They are so pretty. That's really the best part of the Super Bowl for me, is seeing that commercial. I love that, which I missed this year. But oh no. Oh no. Yeah, I didn't fall out of my chair at least. I bit my tongue. And so I woke up and my blanket wasn't quite dry. So I clicked it on one more time, and I was upset about biting my tongue, so I ate a Kit Kat bar. Ate a Kit Kat bar, and then finally went to bed, feeling bad for myself. And then I couldn't sleep. Then you're comfortable. Oh no. Ouch. Ow, 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 ow. That's what I don't have a computer chair, but it's an old poker table chair, and it's got the arms on it. Wasn't they call it like a captain's chair? And my ex-husband used to work at it's like an entertainment and gaming place that like sold like poker tables, pool tables, stuff like that. And they would get stuff that would be returned for warranty and it'd be broken. And he was really good at fixing stuff, and so his boss would just say, if it's broken, yeah, take it, and you bring it home and fix it. So this chair is like maybe 20 some years old. It was in the basement, and I thought when I set up my office, I thought this would be perfect, so I could spin around, and you're gonna have to buckle yourself in that chair. Get you one of those office chairs that looks like one of the racing chairs, so you can get like a 5-point harness to keep yourself in it. That's what you can do. Let me do one thing while I'm thinking of it, because I really do want to get this out. This is This is, I keep forgetting, and I wanted to put this in. This is Plunder's link. She is the one that is coming out with all the paperwork on all this Jlr stuff. She's FOIA'd a lot of stuff. She's still got more stuff that's going to be coming in. So if you're interested in following that in the like the documentation, things like that, she doesn't go into a lot of the stories, but she does come with receipts about this stuff, and she's trying to piece everything together. Yeah, exactly. We're gonna harness you in that chair, and then you won't fall. You won't fall anymore. You don't need any injuries. No injuries allowed. But she's got her last 3 videos, I believe. She just did one, I believe, just dropped one this morning. I'm gonna go back and listen to some more of them because I haven't gotten to listen to all of them. But it really does. When you read through the paperwork, tell the tale of what's and listen to the phone calls that she's FOIA'd. So if you're interested in that, then that's definitely. Now I know some of the stuff she does have as some of the paperwork she puts in her Patreon. I've heard her Patreon's not that expensive, but she does it because people were stealing her documents, and she does pay a lot of money to get a lot of this stuff. So I understand that. But yeah, she's really got the she's got the receipts, and Truth Warrior is diligently, trying to find anything she can to find out what's going on. And just like with the Nancy Guthrie case, it's going to be one of those things where we don't find anything out for a while. There's probably a lot of stuff going on backstage that's, that is not public information right yet. And something else that I was reading today that I forgot to say earlier is because it is a DV case, there may be certain things that are sealed that nobody gets to see because of, protection from the victim, etc. So, those are all things that we have to take into account. We'll find out what happened, and I just really hope that this doesn't all turn into some big, boxing match out in Tucson, because it just doesn't need to happen. It's not going to help. That's not advocating for anybody. It's not helping anything. It's just bringing chaos and attention to that drama, and not what really matters, which is making sure that someone that is a domestic violence victim gets justice, and making sure that the Nancy Guthrie case is about just that. Nancy Guthrie. That's it. That's all it needs to be about. As with every case, it shouldn't be about us as creators at all, ever. Ever. Because that's one of the things that I believe is that we are, and this is cliche, but we are the voice for the voiceless, right? Thank you, Truth Warrior. And that's exactly it. It feels like that with Celebrity Deathmatch, and I'm sorry he did all these things, but it's not my fault. And I'll repeat it like I said at the beginning. I'm not going to be quiet when I see somebody doing something wrong. And there's going to be people that don't like me for it. And that's just what I have to do. I've got thick skin. If you don't like me because I'm telling the truth about something, then I don't know what to say. I'm not going to be quiet when I see something going on that isn't right and isn't okay. None of us should be. And everybody deserves due process. Everybody deserves innocent until proven guilty. But everybody also deserves to feel safe and to feel like they can say something without getting their face smashed in. And I'll repeat it again. If you don't believe this, fine. Then don't believe it. But look at the other stuff that we've been shown. And it's all stuff that he has posted, that he has said, he's been proud of. And none of it are good things. None of it are things that help anybody. They're just ways to make money, to create chaos, to I don't know, making fun of victims that died in a school shooting, pretending to be the uncle of a shooter, driving around with Cabbage Patch dolls with murderers' faces on them, talking about how they're innocent. It's not right. That's not anybody that we should be revering. And I really think for the most part, and I think the people that still do, that just don't want to believe this stuff, it's sad, but we're never going to convince them of anything different. So fighting and arguing about it. The people that are realistic and that see this stuff know what the truth is. And the rest are going to believe whatever they want to believe. And that's on them. At some point, that's on them. If they want to spend their money and their time and their emotion on that, then there's nothing we can do. We just have to be here and do better and call out the BS. And say, hey, you're not being honest. Right? Right. So, on that note, I am going to skedaddle out of here. I've got a headache. We're supposed to it's been raining all day. That just kind of cold, trickly rain. So, I want to thank everybody for coming in and having a great combo tonight. You guys are great conversation. I love it. And I really needed it today because today was, like I said, it was a really rough day in real life. So thank you for listening to me. Thank you for keeping Nancy Guthrie in your hearts and your minds. Thank you for listening to me talk about all this stuff. I am still going to go over that documentary because a couple of people have asked me about it because of that Savannah Soto Matthew Guerra case. It's just like a timeline, like it kind of gives the short story of what happened beforehand. So some people wanted to be refreshed, some people didn't even know about that case. And again, his dad, he just got found guilty for capital murder, and his father is going in for charges associated with this because he helped him clean it up. And that's May 11th. So that's going to be really interesting. Oh, thanks, you guys. Thanks, Truth Warrior Nadia. Love you guys. But so, like I said, we got lots of stuff. There may not be something going on every single second in Nancy Guthrie or Jlr or any of the stuff we're following, but we're just going to keep following it and rotating, and we'll always have something to talk about, right? So, I love that. You is smart, you is important, and you is kind. Right back at you, girl. Mwah. No, that's the thing. It may not be popular all the time, but I really try to keep it real. Anything I say to you, I try to 100% base it in fact. If it's something that's just an opinion, I will make sure that you know that it's just my opinion. And I'm accepting of everyone's opinion and theories. That's what I like about it in here, is that we really do have good conversations, and we all have different opinions, and we all believe different things, but we don't turn it into WWE matches, right? Like a couple people did this morning. Well, one person did, but that's going to be interesting too. Or on the 28th, so we'll have to see what comes of that. I mean, I think it's probably just a ticket, but who knows? It's all turned into a lot of stuff that definitely doesn't have anything to do with the missing 84-year-old woman, right? I think we can all agree on that. The Curtis, come help me. help. This little tiny man running after me. My thought was at an airport. Why would you do it at an airport? But there's protection at the airport, though, right? I mean, I don't know. To me, that was a really dumb move because there is so much security. I mean, you can't even sneeze in line in an airport without them like x-raying you, you know? I mean, like, oh my gosh. Oh. So, all right, you guys. I will, like I said, Truth Warrior and I will be on, like we said, between 10 and 11 tomorrow night. We both got kids and all that stuff to get taken care of, but she's got a theory that she wanted to go over, and so I figure she can better explain it than I can, and we got to check out Doug's theory too, because he said that if I can get my email to work, and it was a dumb move, but I still, like I said, I think he wanted to be heard, and he wanted to be seen, and I don't know if you were in here or not, but what we were talking about is Molly had said, she said it a couple of times, talked about him not liking to confront men. She's only, and showing, she was showing the Karen Reed video and talking about how he confronts women, but he doesn't confront men. And literally the next day, boom. I don't think that, and I think that everything that he does is calculated and for a reason. And we don't understand it because our brains don't work that way. But I really and truly do think that was, there's just so many things with all of that are just like, if you look back at the timing, you're kind of like, huh, that was kind of interesting that happened just now. So yeah, exactly. I don't think he does anything like on impulse. I think everything's very calculated. So yes, yeah. So everybody, hopefully you'll get some caffeine, get your drink, get your smokes, get your snacks, and meet us here like between 10 and 11, and we will discuss this a little bit more. And I am going to hunt again for that documentary, because we'll do that sometime this weekend. That'll be just one of our chill times that we can sit and watch it and get the backstory on the Savannah Soto Matthew Jlr case before Ramon Preciado goes to court. So, because I think there's some more charges probably coming his way. He's also being sued for like $1 million too civilly, so that's another fun thing. We'll see what that happens. So, all right, guys. Again, thank you. Please, if you haven't, claw that thumbs up button for me on your way out. If you're new here, please hit that subscribe button. I'm trying to grow my channel, and we really do work on truth and facts, and we try to throw in some fun in there, and everybody gets a turn, kind of a thing. So yeah, please hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you know when I go live. You guys can come hang out with us again. And saw some new people in here, so thank you for being part of the conversation. And on that note, I am Audi 5000. So you guys have a great night. I will see you tomorrow. And raise your hand. All right. Good night, guys. Peace, love, and claws, y'all. Good night.